Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Katie and these are my Leaf Diaries. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be talking a bit of trivia in this video, so if you're interested, tune in. Also, if you're interested in finding out a bit more about cigars, if you've got any questions, if you're a newbie in the lifestyle, or if you just want to expand your cigar networking, feel free to join my Telegram group in the link tree in my bio. We've got about 50 aficionados there that we like to discuss cigars and many other topics of the subject. I just finished shooting a video answering one of my subscribers around the Guinness Nitro Stout, and I've decided to have a cigar. I've got a bit of a selection here with me tonight. I've got the Punch Double Corona, the Ramon Leones Gigantes, the Partagas Salomones, and the Bolivar Belicosos Finos. I'm going to go with something very special, packed with flavor, La Casa del Habano edition, and not very easy to find. I think, at least in my humble opinion, it's quite rare to find this cigar. This is the Partagas Salomones. And for those of you that know me already or have been following me for quite a while, you will know that I love cigar history or Cuban history. And I also like to make videos about that. So tonight I've decided to give you a bit of trivia about Partagas. The person that has established the Partagas brand originally was Jaime Partagas, or his full name was Don Jaime Partagas Uravelo. As I'm talking, actually, I'm going to do a Cuban cut to this one because I love Cuban cuts. Now, a Cuban cut basically means cutting the cigar diagonally. Don Jaime was a teenager, only 14 years old, Spaniard, who arrives in Cuba in 1831. He immediately starts looking for ways to expand his wealth and to find a good way to do well in life. In other words, he was looking for business opportunities, trying to establish a good, steady income for himself. He starts working for one of the leaders in the tobacco industry at the time, and that was Juan Conil Upi. He spends a number of years there and gains a lot of knowledge and experience, and then decides to open his first factory in 1845. The factory name was Real Fábricas de Tabaco Partagas, which basically translates into Partagas Royal Tobacco Factory. The reason why he uses the word royal is to emphasize the fact that it was supplying royalty with tobacco products, mainly cigars. Tobacco. He was supplying royalty with tobacco products in Asia and all across Europe. He's a very influential individual in the tobacco industry by that point, and at this point he starts buying every single plantation he can get his hands on in the Vuelta a Bayo Pinar del Rio region in Cuba to try and secure enough tobacco output to power his factory. He is not only attributed as the founder of Partagas cigars, he is also attributed as one of the biggest innovators at the time in the tobacco industry. He's the first to introduce book readers to his torcedores on the floors in his factories. He was hiring people to read books to the torcedores whilst they were rolling out the cigars, and he's also attributed to be the first to experiment with fermentation for aging of the tobacco, improving flavor, conservating tobacco leaves, and so on. He quickly becomes very prominent, very successful, and very wealthy, and starts indulging in the only vice he was interested at the time, and that was women. That unfortunately starts to build up a big list of enemies of his own, from jealous husbands and which basically ultimately leads to a lot of lawsuits, and he then starts funneling a lot of his wealth down the rabbit holes of the legal systems in Cuba at the time, until he ultimately is killed in one of his plantations in 1960. Since his death, the factory is sold a few times, inherited a few times, and the last person to own the factory was Ramon Cifuentes, who owns the factory up until Fidel Castro comes into power and then takes full control of all of the factories in Cuba. The peak of the Partagas factory before Fidel Castro is in the 1950s, when, thanks to Ramon, the factory is number one in terms of, sorry, the factory is number two, not number one, number two factory in Cuba and in the world as a brand. So here's a bit of trivia. Here's the Salomones. This is Vitola de Galera Double Perfecto, or Salomon. It's 184 millimeters on 57 ring gauge. It's a big boy. I think in the UK it retails around 76 to 80 pounds per cigar, so not cheap. It's an expensive cigar, especially if you can find it. I think it's still available in certain online retailers, but in Europe, for me at least, personally, it wasn't quite easy to find. In Bulgaria, I was looking for it for probably 8-9 months until the good people at Kaliman Caribe were able to source one of these boxes, for which I'm very grateful, of course. It's a very complex blend, very sweet blend, which is, at least in my opinion, uncharacteristic for a Partagas, but it's packed with flavor. I can sense some chocolate, some honey, there's some caramel, and some nutmeg. Really, really good cigar. Full body, full flavor. It is amazing. It's about 2 hours smoke, and I will thoroughly enjoy it. For those of you that have the weekend ahead of you, cheers and enjoy the good weather wherever you are. If you like this type of content, please don't forget to like, share, follow and subscribe for all your cigar content. I'm Katie, and these were my Leaf Diaries. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.